Hey everyone, Tom here again. The last video I shared was on Lawrence Block's book. It was about writing scene description, what you keep in, what you share with the reader. This week I thought I'd share another book with you on writing. This one is called Story by Robert McKee. It's actually a pretty famous book. Robert McKee is known for doing his seminars on screenwriting. So even though this is not about prose writing, like writing short stories and novels, there's lots of good stuff in this book that I highly recommend. As I was flipping through the book, I noticed I had bookmarked a certain section. It was from the chapter on the substance of story. So I thought that would be a cool one to talk about. So for McKee, the substance of the story is something that we can't touch, hear, or see, but it's something that we feel when we're watching a movie. He even describes substance like the energy inside of an atom. McKee says to understand the substance of story, we have to get inside the protagonist's mind, to see the world through the protagonist's eyes. The one thing that stood out for me is when he talks about the protagonist's object of desire, like what the protagonist wants. In that section, he talks about the difference between things in real life and things that we'll write in the story. And he says in real life, we can often get the object of desire, like simple things. He gives the example of a friend calling another friend and asking for a woman's phone number that he lost. And the friend's busy at work. He apologizes for interrupting him, and his friend says, "No problem, I got the number right here, let me give it to you." So for McKee, that example shows that there's very low risk in that person calling and asking their friend for a woman, let's call her name Jane, calling for Jane's phone number. Even though he disrupted his friend who was busy at work, he got the number. But in story, it should be different. If he were to call his friend and ask for Jane's phone number, and his friend started yelling at him and says, "I'm not going to give you her number," and then hangs up on him. For McKee, we added risk into the story, and risk is really important. It's essentially what creates the drama. So what I think McKee is saying in that part of the chapter is that when we're thinking about our protagonist, as we're seeing things through the protagonist's eyes, we want to make it hard for the protagonist to achieve his or her goal. For McKee, the key thing is to create risk for your protagonist. What will the character risk in order to achieve his or her object of desire? If a protagonist is after something, putting risk in creates more drama and more tension, and that's something that we detect as the viewer of a movie. We feel it, and that's what McKee describes as the substance of story. Like Breaking Bad's a really good example of always adding risk and upping the ante, upping the stakes for Walter White in that series. That's a really good one I always think of. So the way I interpreted risk is you always want to make it hard for the character to achieve his or her goal. Okay, thanks for listening, and I'll try to post some more videos again. Take care.